Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Declutter Your Life podcast. My name is Anna Ortiz-Aragon. I'm the CEO and founder of Declutter with Anna. And today we are recording episode 42, Creating Success and Happiness with Mike Kitko. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Anna. How are you? Thanks for
I'm
having me here. I'm really excited to jam.
Yay, thank you. Me too. Oh, this is going to be great. So Mike and I were like introduced to each other because we have some mutual friends in common, and we're both coaches. We're both in the business world, and I'm super excited to learn more about you, Mike. So introduce yourself. Tell us about you.
So my name is Mike Kitko, obviously. I'm an executive coach, speaker, published author. I like to say I'm one of those guys, right? So there's a lot of us in the circle. I guess I'm a recovered Fortune 500 executive, and I'm also a Marine vet. And I rode this 16-year cycle of ascension through corporate America, and I did really well for a long time. But I kept following. I kept following the pain, and I kept following hardship and struggle, and I kept putting myself in positions that I didn't want to be in because I thought I wanted things that I really didn't need, and it just kept getting more and more painful. And I got fired twice from executive level positions in about 20 months. And thank goodness it did. I did, because that's when I got to build my own business and kind of live life on my terms. So I've put together I've rebuilt my family because there was abuse, physical, mental, emotional abuse in my family. I've put together my health. I was a 300-pound suicidal alcoholic, and I built a business that I touch people and reach people around the world. And it's really, really cool to be me at this current moment, where 4 years ago, I can't say that was the case.
Oh my gosh, amazing. That's multiple lives, multiple paths, multiple journeys.
It was like hitting the reset button, right? Just one decision and hitting a reset button. And it's been up, or downhill in a good way, however you say that, ever since that button was pushed.
Absolutely. Amazing. Oh my gosh, I have so many questions. Okay. So maybe we'll start with the topic. So creating success and happiness. So what does success mean to you?
Yeah, success is about, let me say success is about what you find on the outside, and happiness is about finding what, or what you find on the inside. So I like to break it down into internal and external components. So success is basically living life on your terms by design. So, and I'm defining it for me and how I perceive the word success. It's knowing that we're here to serve a purpose, a mission, to impact people, to live life designed for us. We all have unique designs. So there's no box to be put in, and we get to figure out who we want to be when we grow up. And that's why, my ascension through corporate America, I was just trying to fit myself into the stereotypical, corporate box. And at some point it got so painful that I couldn't stand it. I almost pulled the trigger, seriously. But we get to figure out who we are, understand our design, understand our desires, our ambitions, our goals, our talents, our gifts, what we want to bring the world and how we want to impact. And then we get to create that in the world. And that's success to me, is living life on your terms, not somebody else's design.
Yes, that is amazing. Yeah, I've never had someone explain it that way, external versus internal. And I think that's like a really easy way to put it. Very cool.
It works for me. It's worked for me. And like I said, it was part of hitting that reset button.
Yes. Okay, so about the reset button, like what was the moment in your journey that was the turning point where you realized like, hey, this is not working for me. I need to make some changes?
I literally made the decision to not pull the trigger. And I'm being serious. I get emotional just talking about it, because I was sitting in a chair, and I've got a chair upstairs in my living room, and I raised my girls in this chair, and we call it the Pimp Daddy chair, right? So that's just the name that we gave it, and whatever. Anyway, it's got a head spot where I spent so much time in this chair, and I would sit with my girls, and I would raise them on my lap, and it was beautiful. My girls loved me, and I loved them. And I was sitting in that same chair after I had been fired that second time. And it was a couple of days after I got fired, after that second time after I came out of that haze and that fog, and it's like, what the F am I going to do with the rest of my life? Right. I obviously don't have this figured out. And an old boss told me one time, he said, if you're an executive and you haven't been fired once, then you're really not a professional. And after I got fired the first time, I was like, got it. I'm a professional now. It's all systems go. And then I got fired, 15 months later. And that's when I realized that, it was either pull the trigger or completely rebuild my life. And I've been asked, well, why didn't you pull the trigger? Like, well, because I was scared. I didn't have the courage to, right? Just like I didn't have the courage to step out of the life that I didn't want to live. I didn't have the courage to pull the trigger. So it was a process of rebuilding that. And when I didn't pull the trigger, it was almost like walking up to my whiteboard in my office now and just erasing the whole whiteboard, saying, I've got nothing figured out. Let's rebuild this thing from nothing.
Oh my gosh, so powerful. Man, so my husband is a veteran as well. He was in the Army. And this is something that is a common theme for a lot of veterans. They come home, they don't really have support. And it's interesting because you went to the executive world, which is also very cutthroat as well. And then, being fired twice, super intense. I was laid off at my first job out of college, and that was a major blow to my ego, for sure.
Certainly.
For sure. So, do you have a soft spot in your heart for other veterans? And do you keep in touch with any of your guys?
I do. And so the guys that I kept in touch with after I exited the Marine Corps, they were all just like me. And I still keep in contact with a few of them, a very small few. But the thing about it is the people that even the Marines that I used to connect with, and goes beyond just Marines, but the people that were in my life when I was a 300-pound suicidal alcoholic, they helped me get there.
Right.
And so we were on the phone. I had, Marine vets from around the country that I had served with, and we were on the phone trying to outdrink each other and trying to outkill each other, right? Mm-hmm. And at some point when I made a decision to change it all up, I lost a lot of those folks, and I lost, air quotes, right? Yeah. I made a decision to kind of wipe the slate clean and start to rebuild. Those people had gotten me there, and you can't live in your old life and then create something new. You've got to step into and be around people that are where you want to be. So I started joining masterminds, and I started like hiring coaches and things like that. And that ultimately picked me up out of the ashes. And it's funny because I've got Marine vets that I served with who are now part of my coaching community. They're part of courses and things like that. So now they've seen what I've done with my life, and they've kind of started stepping into that. And it's really beautiful because I've always been a leader. I've always done really, really well in leadership positions when I had my shit together. But now those folks are starting to step into alignment and see something more positive than we ever experienced, during our time in the Marine Corps.
Right. That's so amazing. Yeah, because it's very much, protection, very masculine, very intense and, forceful. And then like, how can we translate those skills into something else? Because just like you said, you are a leader, you are a warrior, but can we do that in maybe a safer, more healthy environment?
Well, and this is why creating success and happiness. So, in my past life, like the past life 4 years ago, I couldn't make things hard enough for myself. And I always took the path of most resistance. There was a reason, and for all you military vets, there's always somebody who has it, harder than you do. But the point being is, when I had to choose between the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force, of course I picked the Marine Corps. In my mind, I wanted to prove something to myself. So I wanted to take the path of most resistance so that I could prove that I could do the other three, right? So and it's shown up in corporate America. When things came easy, I found the way to make it hard. When I'm exercising, when I'm enjoying it too much, my mind is like, no, we've got to speed up. We've got to put more weight on. We can't enjoy this thing. When building my coaching business, in my first full year as an executive coach, I replaced my executive salary that I had just gotten fired from, fully replaced it in the first full year of business. When that came easy, I started finding ways to F it up. So it's like this, there's this part of my mind and my body that doesn't want to enjoy life. And when I became conscious of this, that's why the creating success and happiness. Hey, let's go out and create success. That's awesome. But let's enjoy the process. I had success, financial success, titles, materials. My 11-year-old girl, my daughter, had been to Mexico when she was 11. She had been to Mexico and out of the country 8 times. I mean, we had success, but we never had happiness. When you come into my 4 walls back then, there was physical, emotional, and mental abuse all the time. And even for my wife, even sexual abuse between us. And the point being is we had a really good situation going on financially in the outside world. It looked awesome. Inside, it was just nothing but pain. And that's why I separate the two.
Yes.
Because if you're not enjoying the success, what is the point of success?
Exactly. Yeah, so powerful. Oh my goodness. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about change. You know, we didn't change everything overnight. Was there something you focused on first and then you moved to another thing? And what helped you stay on the path to change?
Beautiful. So great question. Thanks for asking this. So I did change everything at one time. However, so let me explain. What I teach right now in my courses in creating success and happiness is there's 3 steps, and they're really simple, Anna. There are 3 steps to stepping into the life that you want to live, right? So first of all is getting really clear about what that life looks like, right? It's really simple and really basic, but most people are just accepting whatever comes at you instead of like living life by design, having a clear picture, and clarity is a creative force. When you get clear about what you want, it starts moving towards you, right? Yeah, there's some woo-woo stuff coming out. It's awesome because it's true. The second step is take a look at that vision. Now in my vision, I have my health, my wealth, my love, my relationship, what my house looks like, right? My travel, what I want my travel to look like, how I want to experience the world and see the world. I've got all these things defined in my vision, right? They're not goals. They're not objectives. It's a vision. It's what my entire life I want it to look like. Now, the second step is breaking each of those components down into bite-sized pieces so that when I take repeatable, daily, inspired, aligned action towards each of those, right? Just moving the needle a little bit each single day, then it lights me up. Now, there's a bunch of stuff in there. I just said repeatable and daily and aligned and inspired. It's not doing things that you hate. It's finding ways to do those things that you love so that when you're in action, you're enjoying it just as much as the outcome. Yep. Because we don't have to sacrifice now for later. So it's making sure that you're not putting yourself in a position to hate your life now so that you can enjoy it later. It's repeatable, daily, aligned, inspired action. And then the third part, and this has been the hardest for me, to be honest, is human beings love to sabotage success and happiness. We love when it feels too good, when we feel too successful, we try to find a way to make it go away. Pay attention to people that win the lottery, right? That are broke and they win the lottery. They find a way to get rid of it quickly because as human beings, our minds and our bodies want struggle. Our minds and our bodies want stress. Our minds and our bodies want anxiety and fear, right? We have to be, here's some more woo-woo. We have a body, we have a mind, but we are a soul. We don't have to participate with the mind and our body. We can observe it and we can keep moving forward anyway. The point being is that third step is eliminating self-sabotage and being aware that when things get too good, you're probably going to start to make it go away and you're going to make it harder than it needs to be. So those 3 steps. Now, there's a whole lot of stuff that gets in the way, right? Like self-doubt and lack of courage, lack of confidence, lack of trust, all these painful things, again, self-doubt, the internal chatter, the mental chatter, the emotional chatter, the fear, the interaction we have with our body, all these things are at play to get in the way. But when you start to build a healthy relationship with those, it really comes down to get clear about what you want, take simple, aligned, repeatable, daily, inspired, aligned action towards it, and just don't screw it up. It really is that simple. So I did make changes in my entire life, but they were incremental, right? Little at a time. Instead of like when I was a 300-pound guy, instead of trying to run a marathon that day, I set the treadmill for a half mile.
Yeah.
And then I repeated that half mile until it was comfortable. And then I increased the distance. And then I kept speeding up. But your body pulls you to that. And the whole goal, and this is right before I shut up, the whole goal is to enjoy all of it.
Yeah.
Not to do things that cause you struggle or pain or stress.
Absolutely. Yes. I love so many things that you said. Living life by design, particularly. We are co-creators. Like, we can create our life. It doesn't just happen to you. You are an active participant. So we have choice. And maybe just, a little bit more awareness and discipline in our choices is going to make all the difference in whether we are successful or happy, right?
Absolutely. So to your point, right now I have certain foods that are really healthy for my body, and they make me feel good. Well, some of those foods my wife doesn't love, and my kids don't love. And there's some things they eat that I don't. But when I swirled in that pain, we had to have mealtime and we all had to eat the same things because that's the way it was supposed to be. And I would literally do things that I didn't want to do, that didn't feel good for my body, because it was almost like somebody else expected me to do it.
Yeah.
That's not living life by design. That's living your life by somebody else's design. Like, somebody else is making choices for what's good or what's not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
When my wife was in active pharmaceutical addiction, and the only thing our marriage was bonded by toxicity, by chemicals, by alcohol, and by drugs. And the only relationship point we had was going out to a bar and sitting there and just getting shit-faced drunk. And we called that bonding. And when I stopped drinking, right, when I literally took alcohol out of my life, she threw a fit. She threw a fit. She fought me. She wanted me back in that toxicity and back in alcoholism. And I had to make a decision for myself. Do I live life by my design or by hers? And then, a couple months later, she started the journey of sobriety as well. So now I'm leading my wife, and I'm leading my family instead of being a victim of them, right? Allowing them to tell me who I'm going to be. But it's simple things like that, right? Just because you're married doesn't mean that you have to do things that you don't want to do. You get to live life by your design, and then people who will support that will find their way into your life, and they're the right people for you. People that celebrate you, celebrate your success, celebrate your happiness, and celebrate your choices. And the people that will fight and create conflict, let them go.
Yep. Absolutely. Man, I love your attitude. Like, you just have a great, like, go-getter attitude. Have you always been like this? Like, as a child, were you like the leader?
Yeah, sometimes I'm getting emotional as you say that. Yeah, sometimes it was received well and sometimes not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it created a lot of results, and sometimes it just created enemies.
Yep.
So, but absolutely, the interesting part is that going through corporate, or even when I was playing baseball when I was young, no matter where I was always looked at as the leader or the captain, or and there was so many people that resented that fact, and I never knew why. I didn't. You can't see the picture from inside the frame, right? It's hard to know who you are when you're inside this body with all this doubt and all these emotions. But people see it in you, and sometimes they can see you more clearly. So yeah, I've always been kind of in the forefront, but I never knew why until recently.
Yeah. Love that. Another thing that I want to highlight that you said is that we don't have to sacrifice the now for later. And that speaks volumes to me. And it also makes me think of like religion a lot, that basically in your lifetime, you have to follow these rules, do these things for the afterlife when you're in heaven and you can do what you want. And that just never has resonated for me.
Well, I went to Catholic school for until age 8, and I was raised in a German Polish Catholic house in a home. And yeah, I mean, guilt and shame was everywhere. right? And so I was taught this is the way religion connected with me when I was a child. I'm not saying this is the way everybody teaches it or perceives it, but I was just broken from the second I was born. And I was imperfect, and I should live in shame, and I should live in guilt. And it was like, how are you supposed to be happy when you're living with each breath should be a shameful breath? And at some point I had to completely, again, wipe the slate clean and say, that is all bullshit.
Yes.
And I just won't accept that in my life. Right. So just like I won't force my beliefs and opinions on someone else, I just no longer will let them force their beliefs and opinions on me.
Yes, absolutely. So in that process of like really kind of deconditioning and unlearning a lot of behaviors that you were taught intentionally and unintentionally, what helped you along the way release some of these things?
Shoot. Deciding that it's okay to be me. I can't remember where I heard it. I can't remember where I read it, but it connected powerfully. It said, if it doesn't bring complete joy and freedom, it's not true. And I don't know where I first read that, but I know it when I first read that, I felt it was almost orgasmic. Because that was like the permission slip that I needed to push anything away that incited guilt and shame or fear or, lower level beliefs, like I was taught making money is hard and life is dangerous. And, you've got to work hard to make money. You've got to work hard. And if you're not working hard, you're lazy. I was taught all this garbage. I don't know about you, but that doesn't bring joy and happiness and freedom to my life. No. So that kind of gave me the permission slip that I needed to push all of that out of my life because it connected and resonated so powerfully. And now if it's not like the highest level belief, it's just not true. I get to choose something different.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's a great reflection of business in general. Just your mindset and your faith and your trust in yourself is everything, because you are on your own and you get to pave the way. You get to decide who you work with, what your services are, what your day looks like. And again, creating your life intentionally by design. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And look, I serve everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. I serve in the entrepreneurial community. We like to say, you got to narrow down your niche and figure out who you serve. I don't know if that's true. I'm here to serve everyone. No one gets off the phone without me giving them something for free or serving them in some way, but I work with a very few. And those few people have a lot of qualities that I have. Yeah. Because those are the ones that are going to get the most value out of our time together. Those people they're aggressive. They live in love, right? Love, letting others voluntarily evolve. There's no perfection in the world. Yeah, write that down. That's the big one, right? When I first heard that one, it was a game changer. Love is letting others voluntarily evolve. Nice. So, but the people that I work with are a lot like me, and we share a lot of characteristics. They're not robots like me, or they're not robots of me, and I don't try to make them in my image. But there's certain qualities that they possess that are going to make us good to work together. They're aggressive. It's almost like a fire-ready aim, right? They can't get into action fast enough and take steps, and that's what helped me create my business is moving and taking action before I even had time to think about things.
Yes, before doubt sets in, right? Before all of those thoughts set in, just go.
Take the step, and then the doubts start to subside themselves. But I was on a phone call with a prospect yesterday, and I said, listen, I just want you to understand, you can say yes or no to working with me, and I can handle either one. But I need to think about it. That means that we are not good together. Like, I would rather have you say no than to say, I need to think about it. I don't do well with people that need to think about things for a long time. You're not going to get the best value out of me. So we'll just know that we're not a good fit. I get to decide that because I work with a few, but I'm here to serve everyone. He got off the phone with with value. I gave him some content. I gave him some new things to connect with, things that'll really help him move his ass. But we're not good to work together if he's got to think about it. Right.
Right. It means you didn't have that magical connection, right? So it's like, yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. That's a huge part of business. There's going to be a lot of no's before you find your soulmate clients, your soulmate partners, soulmate team members and staff. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, to take it even a step farther is I've gotten results in my business and in my life most powerfully by act, learn, revise. Act, learn, revise. Act, learn, revise. Don't think, right? Act, learn, revise. And then when you reflect on, right, act, learn, when you analyze what you've learned, now you can quickly make an adjustment and take action again. But I need to think about it. To me, that's kind of indecisive. And everyone gets to be that, letting others voluntarily evolve. You get to be that if you want. That just means we're not great to work together. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. And action builds confidence,
100%. And courage.
Yep. Momentum. Absolutely. Yes. So tell me a little bit more about how you tapped into inspired action. Like, how did you start listening to your intuition and inner knowing?
So there was this guy. I went to a personal development seminar, and there were like 4 or 5 speakers, and a lot of them were polished. Okay. And they were polished speakers. They had beautiful presentations, but there was this guy that got up on stage, and we became good friends. And he got up on stage and he said, "Hey, listen, I just got off a phone call or a plane, and I booked over here, and the USB is not working, so I don't have a PowerPoint. So I'm just going to give me the microphone, and I'm just going to jam." And he walked back and forth on that stage, and he just railed. And before that, Anna, I thought that in order to speak on a stage, you had to be polished and scripted and professional, and you had to honor time, and he did none of that. But he moved me that day, and he moved me into action like more aggressively than anyone ever has, because I just got to see him live soul out. He was just living from his soul. He wasn't thinking about what he was doing. He was just sharing the messages that, I'm getting emotional again. He just shared messages that came through his soul that were perfect for me.
Yeah.
And one thing he said in there is, at some point, I decided I'm never going to do anything I don't want to do ever again. And up until I heard that, I'm getting emotional. I can't even. Up until that point, I always thought that I had to make life hard. That life had to be hard, and it doesn't. It doesn't. I went for a run today, and a 5-mile run, and I run a couple times a week, and I enjoy my runs. I don't have to kill myself when I'm running. I'm running 5 miles, but there used to be guilt and shame in me when I was in the Marine Corps, especially if I didn't die after my run, right? Well, now I go out and I run 5 miles, and as I've lost weight, they've sped up, and as I enjoy them, they speed up. But I literally go out and I enjoy my run.
Yeah.
And that's more valuable than killing myself and growing through pain.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just like we said earlier, what are we working for? We're not working for later. We want to enjoy the whole process. So that's beautiful. I love it. Oh, I think you are muted, Mike.
There we go. My AirPods just died, so I took
There we go.
Apologize.
Yeah. Wonderful. Perfect. Okay. Man, so many beautiful things here. Okay. So before we start closing out, there's one question that I ask everybody. And what is something that you have recently let go of?
Stress. Stress, struggle, pain, hardship. And recently it really hit me. If for anyone who's watching, there's my dogs now. That's why I had AirPods in. Anyone who's followed me over the last 3 years have seen me with different messages and logos and taking really simple messages and connection points and making them really, really complex. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like if something was too simple, then it wouldn't connect and it wouldn't really show my value and my worth. And that's just taking something that's easy and making it hard. I connect with more people powerfully by talking about success and happiness than I do about self-mastery. Mm. And I thought that if I put success and happiness on any marketing material or message, like I would get laughed at. But simple, elegant, natural, beautiful, basic stuff is really what connects most with human beings. It doesn't have to be hard. We can make things really, really simple. Those 3 steps, now I'm trying to get on screen. Those 3 steps that I shared, create a vision, repeated, repetitive, daily, inspired, aligned action, and just don't sabotage it. Like that list a year ago would have been 25 things, because it would have been more about my lack of self-worth and self-esteem than helping somebody create something in their life.
Yes.
So what have I let go of making easy things hard? Yeah. And waking up to enjoy the day instead of dread the day.
Yes. I love it. Amazing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of keeping it simple. Big fan. Yes. Okay, Mike, so where can we reach you, where you share how we can keep in touch with you?
Yeah, so my website is mikekitko.com. Very, very simple. I have a Facebook page. Mike Kitko Professional Development is my business page. Mike Kitko is my personal Facebook page. And I'm also on LinkedIn. And those are my primary platforms. We do a little bit on Instagram at Mike Kitko. But you'll mostly find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and my website. Right now, I've got over the next 3 months, so from October until December, we are doing free webinars once a month. If you go to mikekitko.com, you're going to see a red button right at the beginning, right on the main page, that says, register for a free webinar for creating success and happiness. And guys, I am going to invite you into a 9-week live interactive session, but you're going to get plenty of value out of just showing up on that free webinar. Trust me. But yeah, connect with me anyway. My email address also is mike@mikekitko, nice and simple. Message me directly and let's see if we can connect.
Perfect. Yay. So I'm going to have all of that in the show notes, all of that in the comments here. Yes, I'm already knowing that that webinar is going to be stellar. Like I can feel it already. So exciting. Okay, so any final thoughts, Mike? Anything you want to leave us with?
I've got this image that I share in the webinar, because I just shared a lot what's already in the webinar, right? But I've got this image that I show that has moved people to tears, and it's this guy that's pushing a rock up a hill, and he starts to push there. It's like Sisyphus, right? You know who that guy is. Pushes a rock up the hill, and when he starts to get it up a little bit and get it up the hill, it comes back down. And if you watch this, I've got this video, and it's beautiful, and it's a graphic, and we had it designed, and it has an image of the world is beautiful, and he's gray and dim, and he's pushing this rock, and that's his only goal in life. And that's that we're living in that state on a daily basis. We live in stress and struggle. Like that's the whole goal of life, is to push that rock up the hill, and it never ends. Like you're going to be pushing that rock up the hill until you die. That's not what life's about. Life's about identifying the life that you want to live, and then wholly, unapologetically, and absolutely enjoying that life. And not letting anyone tell you that life is about stress and struggle and pain. And yeah, growth is uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to be painful.
Yes, I agree. Oh, totally. Yes. Thank you, Mike. Well, this has been so wonderful. I'm very excited. So everyone, I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and the Declutter Your Life podcast is available everywhere that podcasts are available. And please share this video. You can ask Mike some questions, reach out to him, follow him. And thank you, Mike, for your time. This has been super inspirational. And Yes, I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. And you did a great job pulling me through the interview and questioning and asking questions. So you're a great interviewer, Anna. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, everyone, we're signing off. Bye.
Be good, guys.